just got done from being at my sweet soul sister, one of my soul sisters. I feel like I have many soul sisters at this point, but they Dharma talk to go get our kids at their beautiful home. And the Dharma talk was really great because she practices Buddhism and is a wonderful yogi. And we were able to be taught by a Tibetan monk who is one of the few who are apprenticing with the Dalai Lama, His Holiness himself. His name is Khen Rinpoche Gylaten, and he is on a visit to Western culture or Western society. And my friend she practices her yogi. She gets trained under him virtually, and he is making his Western trek and stopped by in our community, and they invited us with a handful of people to listen to his talk, and we just had a very interesting experience and a practice on the 4 mindfulness meditations: breathing meditation, feeling meditation, mindfulness meditation, and Dharma meditation. And he gave us lectures to explain. He explains what this means in the Buddhist philosophy, but also a way of life, a different perspective. And it was just so beautiful to listen to him and to see his joy. His face is lined with smiles. It is so fun to see this youthful monk, just so youthful. Like, he has spent 25 years studying as a monk, and he's on his trek here as part of his journey, and just teaching us. Really, I felt like so much of it, if I could sum it up, was like letting go of the ego and detaching ourselves from what our self wants, which is hard because we like to get what we want, right, in life, and we like to see a goal and hit a target and then hit it and go get it and achieve it, and then it feels validated in the methods that we use to do that, whether it's in sport, music, art, business, life, parenting. We want to have systems in place that are effective because it's super linear and it just makes sense in our minds. And this talk was so interesting to hear his perspective. And I've listened to several before. We went to a White Sands monastery down in Florida when we lived there, and it's a beautiful monastery with gigantic sculptures, and it's like a beautiful garden. It's very sweet. And this was really nice to hear his perspective on life and self, and basically, like, we often think of ourselves and are selfish and are constantly in our brain. And then the Dharma was interesting. I hadn't heard it from this perspective of basically, I mean, I think I'm still like integrating. I feel like I need to think a little bit more and reflect upon all that was taught, but it was the initial takeaway is I always struggled with this non-self idea in Buddhism, because I'm a believer and I have a faith in Christ, and so this identity of being a child of God is ingrained in me. It can be construed anyway. Being a child of light and of God is part of an identity. The breaking of that always felt off. But the way he explained it today of this non-self was really about not letting the ego get in the way. And that made a lot more sense as to the Dharma is like the ego. And the more we let our ego go and let our need to possess things go, our need to compare go, our need to destroy things or be our own worst enemy or inner critic go. Like, all of this go, it just was like, oh, that is the main thing. And then we are lifted up out of this negative self-talk or just negative energy to be abundant. One of the things that does resonate, I would listen to, after I had a miscarriage, I listened to a lot of meditation. It really helped me through that, along with my own prayer and like yoga practice. It became this beautiful experience for me to blend it, because I didn't know how to deal with that at that time. Deepak Chopra's meditations and his affirmations were super helpful, but I love Deepak's, if you listen to it, you can listen to it on Spotify. It's like, I'm pretty sure it's free. His meditations and affirmations, so he goes through the alphabet, and each letter is an affirmation that you can meditate on. And he goes through E. I'm saying this talk today because E, he calls edging God out. The ego is the fear, and so we try and put fear in whatever situation it is, and we try to push God away in our ego, because it's about us, it's about the I and what I want, instead of, we're not letting the universe and God in to be open, and not really connected to how he said the non-self isn't necessarily about not being a child of God, or not having rooted yourself in that. It's about the ego. When we can move through our ego brain, everything becomes lighter. I thought that was super beautiful. It was a really great aha moment. Just shift in perspective. Wonderful, beautiful experience. I had to leave early because I got to go relieve my babysitter and hang out with the kiddos. And this is what Brian and I do for dates sometimes, as we sign ourselves up to retreats or events. This, we were invited. It was a free experience, really, from our friends to come, which was really sweet that they thought of us. And it's like an interesting thing. I was thinking, how do we find ourselves in these places? We tend to keep meeting interesting people, so it's part of our journey, I'm guessing, and how it works together, I don't know yet, but it has been really cool to make time for our own relationship, as well as